All right, everybody, back with another one. Today, we're going to take a look at some important breaking news that has definitely been a major shift with the Trump administration and some of the people that he appointed to these positions. Um, some of those candidates have been confirmed, so that is going to definitely change the game for Trump and his agenda and what he's trying to do. But it's also going to change the game for a lot of the Democrat and Rhino Republican politicians that are opposed to his agenda. But then we're also going to talk about something interesting today. I want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with the New Age movement. Now, that's just a term. It's the same old that people have been doing since the beginning of time. And it just keeps getting repackaged into something new. Now you have a lot of the Gen Z, the youngest generation right now, at least that are, old enough to make decisions for themselves, getting into some new age practices. And many of them may not know that they are involving themselves in these things that are ungodly and should not be, practiced, or they should not be involved in. But also, oddly enough, you have a lot of boomers, a lot of people that are older getting involved in some of these things that they either forgot were not good, or have just decided to abandon um, their upbringing and some of the stuff that their parents had warned them against. Um, the boomers are like the most carefree generation. They really grew up kind of just living free, doing whatever they want. Many of them, especially the early boomers, grew up during the 60s, which was like the whole free love and hippie movement. And then into the 70s, which was like the rock and roll era. And definitely we've seen more like heavy drugs come out of that era. Um, One day I'm going to do a more lengthy video. It's probably going to have to be broken up to a series about the different generations and how they have impacted our world today. But for now, we're just going to kind of take a look at some of those practices and things that people are involving themselves in that is not good and not godly, and things that he has actually warned us against in the Bible. But before we get into that, we're going to take a look at some of the breaking news that has happened. So by the time this video comes out, this might be a couple days old, but Tulsi Gabbard has officially been confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence. So she now has that position. Now, this came down to a few important people, part of Trump's administration, that were being held up by Congress, confirming them because they just did not want these people getting into those positions. There was like a final four, really. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Kash Patel, and Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth has since been confirmed. We talked about that in the previous video. We actually had 2 wins back-to-back with Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., which I'll show next. But this is actually really good because she's now basically in charge of the intelligence community in the government. And what's funny is, I'll talk about this in a minute too. The only Republican to hold out and join the Democrats in not voting to confirm Tulsi Gabbard was Mitch McConnell. So at this point, you basically have remnants of the that are left in the government are exposing themselves for the first time or the last time, where they're letting the American people know, I wasn't with you the first time with Trump. And now the second time around, you made your voice even clearer with a bigger vote, a bigger win for Trump in terms of the entire election, the popular vote, the Electoral College, and winning the House and Senate. And not only were these people, these rhinos, not with us in the previous administration, they were not with us now, and they're making that clear on their stance of where they continue to vote and who they continue to side with when it comes down to these decisions. So it should be very clear to people by now, these politicians, the rhinos specifically, are not with the Republicans, and they are not with you, the people. They don't care what you want. They are not going to vote in favor of things for you because they have their own agenda. And the good thing is Trump is finally in there again, exposing a lot of not only the agenda, which I think he really exposed the first time around, now he's actually exposing the corruption. They're going in there with Doge, and they're getting to the bottom of a lot of what these people have been doing with the money, how they've been funding their operations, how they've been fraudulently taking the American taxpayer dollars and putting it into either their own pockets or in programs that they wanted because they have an agenda that goes against what the people want. I've talked about this many times in the past. The people vote in these politicians to serve our best interest, not their own. But we had many people in government for a long time that have been serving their own interest. Well, a lot of that stuff is finally coming to light, and a lot of these people are going to be probably voted out in the midterms. I think the first time around, things were a little different. Trump won, and he won the majority of Congress. But then in the midterms, he lost a few seats, I believe. The Democrats won some back. And I just don't see that happening this time. This time, I see it as when the midterms come around, provided, again, that I've said this in previous videos, but that they stop the fraud before it happens. Because it doesn't matter how many people vote, if fraud is allowed to occur, all the other side has to do, no matter what side they're on, is just find out how many people voted and come up with a number that beats that number in votes, in ballots. That's all they have to do. So it doesn't matter if it's, 10 million people or a billion people. Even if there's not a billion people in America, they will still figure out a way to come up with that many votes. And we've seen this done in the past. But if the fraud is stopped before it occurs, there's nothing they can do. And this was proven in the 2024 election with Trump, because Lara Trump worked diligently with the GOP to stop the fraud as it was occurring. And it actually worked. They obviously used a lot of resources, had a lot of lawyers involved, I think like 5,000 across the country. And they had tip lines and all kinds of stuff. And they stopped a lot of the fraud. They blocked it at the courts and many other ways that they were able to do this. They actually saved the election and kept it mostly fair and clean. Yes, there were some counties and some states that would not cooperate as well and make it very difficult and try and block some of the stuff they were doing. But for the most part, it worked, and Trump won. And we saw that as a case study now. So now it's proven that that works. If that same model is applied again in the midterm elections, I think you're going to actually see the Republicans pick up even more seats in Congress, in the House and Senate, likely both. But the last of the swamp is revealing themselves as to where they stand with this new administration and with the people who voted for this administration and all of Trump's agenda and as to what he said he was going to do during his rallies. So I think it's very clear at this point, the last few of them are holding on for dear life, trying to cling to their seats and not give them up so that they still have their hands in the government. But if, like I said, Trump continues to expose the fraud and the American people get to see just how fraudulent the government really was, not just monetarily, but lying to the American people, keeping secrets from the American people, and not for our best interest, but doing it for their own agenda. And, actually maybe involving themselves in fraudulent activities with elections. And so if he is able to expose that corruption as well, it might really change the game. But I also think he has to work hard to put something into law that makes it extremely difficult for people to cheat and steal again in the future, because you can't always count on Lara Trump to be in that seat and fight the way that she did. Not everybody is going to be like that. And you're not always going to have a Trump family in politics to save America. So we really do need to, fix certain things on the books. And I'm hoping that we will see some of that. It's good that he passed a lot of the executive orders to get things done immediately. But executive orders, like I said, they're not laws, they're orders, right? That's why they call them orders instead of laws. Um, they are not officially a part of the legal system in this country. They're not technically laws that the American people 100% have to abide by. If they can show that they are unconstitutional, that could be argued in court. So we are going to see what happens over the next few months, the next year, the next 3 to 4 years as all this unfolds. But I believe that if this continues, you will likely see a major shift in the midterm elections in 2026 with Republicans picking up even more seats. So we're going to see how that unfolds. But what we also have reported from Breitbart and many other news publications as well, RFK Jr., like I said, he's been confirmed as well. He is now the head of HHS, Health and Human Services. And that is going to be a big appointment because I believe he's going to do some, really interesting things in terms of restoring America's health with his whole MAHA, Make America Healthy Again agenda plan. He is likely going to make some major changes that are going to aggravate and really just piss off a lot of big corporations and government officials that are against what he's trying to do. What he's likely going to do is shake up the pharmaceutical industry, shake up the food industry, shake up the entire medical system as to how it operates, and healthcare in general. You might see major changes in your health insurance over the next few years. You might see major changes in coverages. You might see changes in what type of things can be covered, like alternative practices that most insurance companies do not currently cover today because everything is geared towards Western medicine and pharmaceuticals, even though there are natural methods and natural ways of doing things. You might see a lot of companies that offer alternative medical treatments or products or whatever. They might be covered by insurance, and that will change the game. That's a lot of the reason why many people don't seek alternative medicine because their insurance companies won't cover it, right? So they have to pay out of pocket, and most people don't have the money to do that. But I think he's going to end up changing a lot of things that are going to majorly disrupt a lot of these big organizations. And it's going to be an interesting 4 years to see all this. I mean, you really do have like an all-star team now, which is really quite interesting to watch because it's like whatever I think every true American always wanted was a government that actually was really, really good at their individual jobs, their individual roles in government, and really cared about the American people and, serving them. I think that's what every American patriot in their core has always dreamed of as the ideal government. That's a government we could actually get behind. And I think people would be a lot more civilized too, because if they know the government's working in their best interests, when the government does put out laws that, are to be followed, I think more people would voluntarily follow them because they would want to live in a society where there's order and there's fairness and equality, true equality, not chaos and not biases. So we're going to see what things look like over the next few years, but that pretty much at this point just leaves Kash Patel. If he gets confirmed as the FBI director, I think that you're going to see a major shift in this country over the next 4 years, but it's probably going to extend much further than that. Because even though Donald Trump won't be in office forever, he's just got these last 4 years. And I know a lot of people have said things about his third term and all this, and I think I've done that in a previous video. People like Kash Patel in that position, that could be like a 10-year position. He'll be in that position well after Donald Trump leaves office. So he could still continue doing good work no matter what administration is in office. That is pretty much what the good news is for this week in terms of, political appointments that are hopefully going to really shake things up in government. Now what I want to do is talk a little bit about some of the stuff that people are getting into today, which, like I said, it's kind of like a repeat. People have been doing this since the beginning of time. God warned against it. Many people throughout history have warned against it. And for some reason, the devil finds a way to always repackage things, make it look cool and new. And you see a lot of people just falling into the same traps over and over again. Yeah, they're different people because they, you know, are part of a new generation. They don't have any life experience yet. If their parents and family didn't teach them these type of things, or just really, give them a good um, Christian upbringing, people will fall victim to these things because they are unaware. Nonetheless, these things are still wrong. And it's crazy because it's amazing how mainstream many of these things have gotten. And the younger generation, you see a lot of young people today, especially like influencers, they're getting into this stuff. Doesn't matter if they have a channel where it's like a new age channel and they're promoting that type of lifestyle. You even see it with um, the alternative and health industries. It's slowly but surely creeping in to that side of things. And that is the whole mysticism, um, witchcraft, and things of that nature. Um, I've even been to health expos years ago where it was a lot of organic foods and supplements and products and things like that. Then you started seeing things like um, Reiki and you know different types of healing practices. Um, Stones and crystals eventually started making their way in. And then eventually you have full blown witchcraft, full blown people who are admitting that they are witches or into occultic type things, promoting their business and trying to infiltrate the health and wellness industry. And it's working. They're actually doing it. But I've seen this in many other areas too. Like I said, I've seen this online with influencers where they, maybe start a channel about exploring the world and trying to figure out, um, what new trends are going on, and then doing a video about that, like these little mini documentaries. I think I've even done videos in the past on this channel with people who do that. They go around to different, creators who are into the new age, and they learn from them about whatever it is that they're doing. It's all different types of practices, and it's made its way into many different areas of our society, of our culture. But it's also made its way into our homes. If you see today, there's a lot of symbolism and things of the occult that most people don't even know are related to the occult or have roots in the occult, but they have these things in their homes. They have these things in their lives, in their daily lives, and they are completely unaware of them. And one of the biggest things I've seen, especially with the younger generations and the boomer generation, for some reason, those two generations are like Gen Z or later millennials. They seem to be really into crystals. And many of them don't even know that crystals themselves are not inherently bad, right? Crystals come from the earth. They're made from different types of, rocks and whatever, obviously crystals, but many, many different types, many different colors um, that come from the earth, which God created. So crystals themselves are not inherently bad, but I believe the dark side knows how to use these things to channel um, dark energy and use the crystals as like a power source for whatever it is they're trying to manifest. And many people have in, unintentionally learned about that, but through like a modern, fun, trending idea of manifestation. It's even in the word manifestation, but we've turned it into like this cool thing where you go to life coaching and you do transcendental meditation, and you manifest that you want to be rich, and then all of a sudden you become rich. And that's the extent of what these people believe that they're doing, is just kind of willing what they want into the world, and then it comes true because um, they wanted it to become true. Well, that's not really the way that life works. And crystals, like I said, themselves are not evil because they were created by God with the earth. However, um, the type of crystals that you're buying and where you're getting them from are usually coming from bad sources, and you don't even know it. And it's not just crystals, it's many different things. It could be, you know, dream catchers. It could be, now we've gotten so mainstream with a lot of this stuff. They even sell Ouija boards as kids' games in toy stores. And I've seen this in many, many different types of toy stores. You're allowing uh, evil and wickedness into your home with that stuff. And not only that, you're allowing your children to get involved with it. It's one thing for you to get involved with it, but it's another for you to open that door for your children. That is really not good. And it could really not only traumatize them, but could curse them for a duration of their life. So you have to be very careful with that stuff. But I want people to see what the Bible says first, and then see how prevalent this is across the nation. It's snuck its way really cleverly, I must say, into like every small town in the country. Think about this next time you go to a small town, or if you live in a small town, there's at least one mystic shop somewhere in your town. Likely. I mean, I would say 90+%. There's at least one mystic shop in your town that sells any one of these items. It could be, like I say, crystals, it could be tarot cards, it could be Ouija boards, anything of that nature, right? And they're in every small town, middle America, from the East Coast to the West Coast, the North to the South, doesn't matter. Practice this next time you go out. See how many of these you can find in your immediate area where you live, or if you travel in your travels. And you can even put in the comments section and name some of the ones that you found, or some of the locations that you found them in. And, this could just add to the conversation. But practice doing this, practice noticing these places. A lot of times they go missed because we're just living our daily lives. We're on the road, we're driving, we're not paying attention, or we're just, uh, walking around shopping, doing whatever, and we're not looking at everything. Um, a lot of times we blur stuff out because there's just so many things in life to, you know, notice and recognize that we don't even see what's hidden in plain sight. But what I want to do now is take a look at what the Bible says. And it says many different things about this. This one particular passage from Deuteronomy I want to show you because it's very clear how God feels about many different types of things that people in the New Age movement and just people who are, regular people are taking part in today, and they don't even know that it's something that God sees as an abomination. So if we look at Deuteronomy 18:9-12, it even is entitled Abominable Practices. When you come into the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination, or tells fortunes, or interprets omens. That's what tarot card reading is. Or a sorcerer, right? That's somebody who is considering themselves a witch or a wizard or whatever. Well, think about something from pop culture that swept the early 2000s. It was Harry Potter, right? And the original book was entitled Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It was right there, hidden in plain sight. And most parents didn't even recognize it. They just got caught up in the popularity of the book and how it swept the nation. And interesting enough, the author now, I think J.K. Rowling, has actually come out very critical of, I believe, some of the Democrats' policies, and also a lot of the whole LGBTQ stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look into that again. But it's funny how that kind of turned around a little bit for her because she's writing books that are about magic and witchcraft and all this stuff. And then she's now got, seems like, some more conservative values in her older age. But back to this passage, or a charmer, or a medium, or a necromancer, or one who inquires of the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. So let's just break that down for a moment. Like I said, you obviously have, it says people who burn their sons or daughters, which we know is human sacrifice. I don't think anybody's really doing that today anymore, but that was at one point a practice throughout history. People would sacrifice their children, especially their firstborns, to whatever gods they worshipped. And so at this time, that was a practice that was common, depending on where you were in the world. But again, people who tell fortunes, how common is that today? You can walk down, like I said, many streets in many different small towns across the country. And a lot of times you will say psychic reading or psychic shop or something to that effect. I know there's actually one about, I want to say, 3 to 5 minute drive from me. So it's within my own area. And they have a regular shop as though it's like a accounting office. You're going into a business that is committing an abomination, but the way that it's sold to the public, it's on a regular street in a regular retail, commercial building. It looks like any other business, but it's something that is ungodly, something that goes against God. And we just allow it today in, modern day culture. We walk right past it or look right past it and don't even think twice about it. But this is an abominable practice that the Lord warned us against. And it's very prevalent. You see this a lot. People who go to fortune tellers. But again, added into that is also tarot cards. Look at a lot of the younger generation, or even you'll see this with celebrities. A lot of celebrities will say that, they had healing because they went to a tarot card reader and it told them about their future and what they have to look forward to. And they think that that stuff is real and that what that person is telling them is going to come true. And that's not the way that it works. The devil can't predict the future. Only God knows the future. But the devil will try and make things happen because when he plants an idea in your head, if you act on it, it comes true. So it's almost like a trap. You think it's going to come true and you act on it as though it's going to come true. So it does come true. And then you think that it predicted an accurate reality for your future. But that's not the case. You made it happen because you carried out the actions based on an idea, right? That's the way that the devil convinces people to do certain things. If no one ever acted on their thoughts, nothing would ever come about, and the devil would really have no power over anyone. That's a little secret that he doesn't want you to know. But it's very clear that you're not supposed to do these type of things, and you see this with a lot of people today. Like I said, celebrities, a lot of rich people, people who are affluent, and maybe even some politicians in government are involved in this stuff. Who knows? No one really knows entirely what goes on behind closed doors, but some admitted on camera. And it says sorcerers, people who practice witchcraft and things of magic nature, but also mediums. That's another big one. Again, just like psychics, there are many people who go to mediums. Think about how mainstream it's gotten, where you have people who have gotten television shows that admit they're mediums and that they talk to the dead, or allegedly do. And it's so accepted in this society today that we are watching them on TV commit an abomination as though it's any other TV show. And people, again, will go and speak to a medium and they will believe what they tell them, even though that's not how it works. When a medium is communicating with someone, they're not communicating with the dead. They're communicating with demons or evil spirits. That is the truth, and that is backed up in the Bible. Once go, And no one in this reality can communicate with those people again. That's why God has even made it clear in the Bible that you're not even supposed to pray for the dead, because uh, whatever their fate was has been completed. It's been fulfilled. Um, but this is all very clear. The Bible is very clear on this, not just in this one passage in Deuteronomy, but in many other places too. But it's clear and broken down well in this passage of what you should or should not practices. And we are seeing this with many people today. So now I want to take a look at just a very easy Google search on maps of these local mystic shops or psychic shops or whatever it is that are involved in these abominable practices, and show that they are spread across the country in many, many small towns in every single state. So we'll just do an overview of Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, and just take a look at some of the southern East Coast states. And right here in Winchester, Kentucky, a place called Crystal Coven Mystic Cottage. Now, if you click on the website, you will see some of the stuff that they sell. But that's another thing too. A lot of them call themselves metaphysical shops. So that's another key buzzword to look out for. When you see that word, you should just know it has to do with evil practices and abominable things that you want to stay away from and don't let your children be a part of either. But if you look on this website, you will see right here, we are focused on providing metaphysical items with a variety of crystals, minerals, divination tools, oracles, tarot cards, candles, and jewelry. Now, if you break this down, it doesn't mean candles are bad. It doesn't mean jewelry is bad. It doesn't mean minerals are bad or crystals are bad. What it means is all of these stores or shops or whatever are all admitting they're involved in divination and things of the occult without actually calling it the occult anymore. They'll use buzzwords, like I said, metaphysical shop, mystic shop, many other different catchy, trendy names, try and deceive, because that's what the enemy does. It will always be trying to deceive people who are not equipped with the knowledge of God. And you will see this, similarity in many of these places. They will sell the same things: crystals, tarot cards, candles, jewelry, things like that, and many other things. It's what they are using these things for. Now, a lot of times, they'll use the candles for their witchcraft, for their spells and practices and whatever it is that they do. And a lot of times they'll sell the jewelry to make money to continue their efforts or whatever their agendas are. So it's just a way for them to, make money and continue to do what they do. But sometimes, not always, I don't know every situation, but sometimes they will actually, like, Christians or Catholics or whatever, will sometimes bless jewelry because they believe that it is, somehow, baptized in God's protection or something. Many of these cultic places will actually curse jewelry. And then when they sell them to people, that curse will carry on to that person who bought it. And now they will inherit that curse if they're not protected by God. So, they sell things that seem normal, that are everyday things that are not inherently evil on their own, but they do it in a way where they interject evil with that stuff. But here's the biggest key. It says right there, divination. And we just read in the Bible, divination is an abomination. So this place is admitting they're involved in divination, which means everything else they do is tied to that. You're not a little bit of bad or a little bit of good. You're either good or evil, right? So this is just one shop. And I'm not going to do this with every single location I click on, but I'll do it a few times just to show you that, this is not just a fluke. These organizations and businesses are doing this on purpose because this is their belief. They are practicing the occult. So that was Kentucky. Let's take a look at Ohio, Cincinnati. There's a place that stands out right here. called Silver Creek's Mystic Treats. And they likely sell very similar things. They don't have a website, so I can't click on it, but they call themselves a health and beauty shop. Here's another one, Mystic Rose. They do have a website. Probably take a look and see if they sell that type of stuff. But here's another thing. This is just an overview, so it looks like there's only a few sprinkled here and there. If you zoom in and click search this area, they'll actually show you more results that pop up that weren't there before. And the closer you zoom in, the more results you'll get that weren't there before. See? They just keep popping up. Mystic Life. And right from the cover photo, you can see jewelry, crystals. They have a shop as well. You could click on that, but just from the photo alone, we can see they sell similar things, right? Now, that's just, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio. We did Kentucky. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere a little bit more popular, especially today. And many conservative people live in Nashville, Tennessee. I bet many of them don't even know how many of these places are right under their nose. There you go. Just clicked on it, zoomed in. This is Nashville, Tennessee. You got a place right here. The Mystical Heart. Spiritual center. And that's another key buzzword they use. They'll say spiritual because they try to throw you off and think that it has something to do with God. Well, it does. It's an abomination to God. And you could actually go to their website and see. I've never been to this website. I have no idea, but I just know how all these places work. So again, they call themselves a spiritual center. Right away. Candles, divination. They're openly admitting that. Essential oils. That's another thing. A lot of times they'll sell herbs or essential oils or incense. That's another big one. You got to be careful where you buy these things from, because if it's coming from a place like this, it's likely got occultic ties, jewelry, and stones. Many of these places sell the same type of stuff because it's all tied to the occult. So you have a crystal store right here. They are admitting right out of the gates that they sell crystals. Zoom in a little closer. All right, let's jump down to Florida. Now, we know Miami. That's a big city that seems to practice a lot of heathenistic behavior, so we're not going to be too surprised by what we see there, but just from a quick Google search, there you go. Whole bunch of places. Mystic, Parapsychic Shop, Mystic Crystals. It's all right in the name. Mystic Joint, Botanica, Mystic Magic Crystals. Again, crystals, but with the word magic in there. Magic is the practice of sorcerers and witches and things like that. That's all magic. But we've accepted that today because you see a lot of magicians do illusions, which are not evil. They're just a way to distract and then do something while you weren't looking. If anything, that would be more like lying, but it's not inherently evil to do illusions. But we've accepted the word magic associated with that. And so now magic is normalized So when we see it, we don't think it's bad because we associate it with it like a magician at a kid's party, right? Over here in Tampa, got a bunch of these right here. Mystic Smoke. Some of these do tattoos, sacred crystals right here. Ravens, Moon, Diana, Mystic. Wow, they're really going. Of the Dark. So Diana is one of the evil goddesses. I think her symbol is a half like crescent moon, but that is a flat out. That's basically like admitting straight up Satanism. Um, got Diana's moon and Mystic of the Dark. I mean, it doesn't get much darker than that, but that's in Tampa. So you have a lot of these places spread across the country. Let's do like Alabama. Many people may think, oh, that's just big cities, that are filled with a bunch of people. It's not the small town America. Well, I could show you Alabama. Mystic Cards and Games. Let's just click on that. Mystical Treasures Emporium. Now, this is just an overview. I don't know what each one of these sells, and I'm sure not every single one sells everything that I said was bad, but they do exist, and they are in every single state. This is Georgia. Here you go. This is Atlanta. Let's take a look at Atlanta. There's a bunch of them, and they're all over the place, spread out. Let's look at, let's take a look at Mississippi. Soul Synergy Rocks and Crystals right there in Jackson, Mississippi. It's a crystal shop. Okay. So that's some of the eastern side of the country states. Let's take a look at good old middle America, Kansas. Mystic Myths. So I might have had some technical difficulties there. It seems like there was a gap in the recording, but I checked many different states. And you can do this all throughout the United States and probably anywhere in the world. Just search for a keyword, mystic shop, crystal shop, maybe divination, tarot cards, whatever, and zoom in on an area, click search, and these locations will pop up. Doesn't matter if it's a state that maybe doesn't come up the first time around. If you zoom in a little bit and you search again, you will likely see stuff pop up. And the more you zoom in, the more you'll see things populate because you can't see them the further out you go. But the little dots will be there. You just got to zoom in a little bit closer. So I just think it's important that we know, not only as Americans, but as Christians, how much of the devil's work has crept into our society and our everyday lives. These businesses are practicing things that the Bible clearly states are of the occult and are abominations to God. Yet they are all across America in every single state, but practically every major city and many of our small towns. So we are allowing evil and occult practices to make their way into our daily lives and be places that our children see that they get curious about and that they start going into and getting invested in or financially investing in, whatever it is, they're letting these things into their lives. And that is what God has warned us against as an abomination. So as parents, you have to be really careful to make sure not only you don't have any of this stuff in your home, but that you also educate your children to know to stay away from these things and not get involved in this stuff just because it's a trend or everybody's doing it or some influencer that they follow promoted it and now they find it interesting and cool and want to get on that trend. Um, it's best if you educate your children against this stuff. But you can do this, you can practice this yourself. You can go on Google Maps and you could probably search any keywords for anything to do with the occult, and you will likely find a business that sells a lot of what these businesses sell all across the country. Doesn't matter what state they're in. If they're in Alabama or if they're in California, they're going to have a mystic shop, metaphysical shop, a shop that sells crystals, shop that sells tarot cards. Sometimes they'll have a psychic on staff that will do, psychic readings or whatever. They might even have a medium. I mean, all different types of things. You got to be careful about this stuff, and stay away from those things. Don't let them into your home in any capacity. Even like watching, some of those mediums that got famous over the years on the TV, with reality shows or whatever. Don't let your family, your children watch that stuff because even though they're not going to see the medium, they're accepting what they're doing by watching it. They're engaging with it. You don't want that stuff to creep into their subconscious and pique their curiosity and get them interested in things of the occult, things that God has said is an abomination. So, just stuff to look out for. I think we're headed into a future where more and more people are waking up to, God, returning to Him, and becoming Christians, becoming born again, um, getting baptized, all different types of things. We are definitely seeing a major Christian revolution in this country, a revival, which is a beautiful thing. And you're actually seeing it with a lot of the youth today. Many people in college, especially, are revolting against all of this, woke agenda and instead turning back to God, which is a miracle. But they have to be aware of these things that exist in the world if they're going to live a true Christian life, walk that straight and narrow path, and avoid the landmines that the devil sets up along the way. So anyway, just wanted to, discuss that. You could practice this yourself. If you find any in your area, feel free to share them in the comments. We can talk about it. And by the way, I'm not doing this video to dox those businesses, to, have people reach out and bother them. That's not my intention. So I know sometimes people's audience members will act on the behalf of the host or whatever, and do something that they think is a good thing. I'm not looking for anybody to bother these people. I'm looking for people to avoid them because what they're doing is practicing things that God has warned us against as being abominations, and so we should not engage with them at all, except to maybe help them and bring them to Christ. Let them know the good word of the gospel. But other than that, you shouldn't get involved, and definitely don't, bother these people. They're just running a business and they think that what they're doing is fine. If you want to go preach the message of the gospel to them, go in there with your Bible, ask them if it's okay if you speak with them, and you know, yeah, so that you're not trespassing or whatever, having an issue with them saying that you're harassing their business or their customers, but instead, just go and preach the word if they are willing to hear it, and if they're not, Bible also says, wipe the dust off your feet when you leave that house or town. Right? Same thing applies. If they don't want to hear you, just move on. It's okay. If God has it in His plan to have them be saved, they will be. Ultimately, their fate is up to Him. So yeah, just something to really look out for and be aware of. We can't walk around this life with our heads down in the phones all the time. You have to be aware of what's happening right around you, because there's so many things that are going on constantly. It's very easy to get distracted and miss what's hidden in plain sight. So, yeah, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And, like I said, comment in the comment section, anything that you agree with, disagree with, whatever, it's all welcome here. But also, future videos, things that maybe you want to see me do, or topics you want to see me talk about, put it in the comments. We'll chat. But that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. All right, everybody, I just want to take a moment to promote my children's book. This is Little Boy Full of Love. That's me on the back. And this is a little sneak peek on the inside. It's a great book. It's a children's book. I actually wrote this for my son, and it's available right now on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Bookshop.org, and a lot of other online platforms. But more importantly to me, it's actually available in a lot of bookstores throughout the country. You can find out which ones are closest to you on my Instagram page. We highly recommend that you shop local, buy from a local bookstore. So if you are looking to, get a children's book for you or anybody you know, or even with the holidays coming up, it's a great time to, buy a children's book as a gift. Definitely get it from a bookstore that's local to you. But if you absolutely can't get it from one of the bookstores that are currently carrying it right now, and we're in about 15 or 16 different states across the country, so it may actually be in your state, and it could even be local to you. But if you can't get it from the physical bookstore, check out our Amazon storefront. The book's available on there right now. And like I said, with the holidays coming up, you may want to do your Christmas or Hanukkah or holiday shopping early, and you can even order it from our Amazon storefront and ship it directly to whoever you're gifting it to. But it's available on those platforms, Amazon storefront and bookstores and other websites that I mentioned. But I want to take a moment here to look at the storefront just to give you an idea of some other stuff that we have available on there. These are products that we highly recommend. They are things that we use in our daily lives, and it's all organized by category. So it's a lot easier to, shop for the holidays and specifically for things that interest you, particular categories. Available right now, many different items on our storefront. If you can see here, 61 items just in women's apparel, fall decor, because right now we're in fall, 26 items, kitchen items, baking specifically, things for around the house, children's toys, even stuff for parties. If you're trying to save money on a party and throwing your own, occasion, you can even buy some cool gadgets here to help you, put on a better party. Health and wellness items here, even stuff for Christmas. And there's the book right there. So you can get it from the storefront. You can get it from the bookstores, like I mentioned. But it's available on all these different platforms. It's really easy to find and gift to somebody. Also, I want to show you the apparel shop, and these are some clothing items that we actually produced. So if you're looking to get some cool apparel items, shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, leggings, even accessories, cell phone cases, women's makeup bags, fanny packs, coffee mugs, all different types of stuff, even some, art, all different categories here, apparel, homeware, accessories, drinks, even digital items. It's all on this store, healthybodygoodssoul.com. Anything that pertains to you or somebody that you're looking to get a gift for the holidays. A lot of great designs on here, a lot of cool designs that we actually custom created. Stainless steel water bottles, especially now with the fall and winter. A lot of cool hoodies and long sleeve shirts. This is a really cool one, I think, for women. The original Be Your Soul Apparel, that one's actually really popular. People tend to like that. This one's one of my favorites. The free shirt. It's the American flag and it says free and that says not property of the United States government. That one's pretty cool. Got all different types of tank tops, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, tote bags, coffee mugs, even some items for kids, backpacks. So if you're the type that likes to, plan ahead, I would definitely recommend ordering from the Amazon storefront or the apparel shop within the next couple of weeks to get everything in time for the holidays. Use code SAVE15 on the apparel shop to save 15% off everything on the storefront. So order within the next week or two and you'll definitely have everything in time for the holidays. Definitely check out all the links to everything, the Amazon storefront, the book, and the apparel shop in my bio on all my platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. But you can also find them in all the show notes for every episode that I post and get all your orders in time for the holidays. All right, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It helps the channel continue to grow. And put in the comments things that you would like me to talk about and make videos on for the future. And I will definitely do my best to do that. Stay tuned for the next one.